I also want to say condolences to the family, the Durand family in Petit Soufriere, who lost a loved one during the landslide. And so we are here. We are here for another episode of Untapped of Roots Connections on Q95. We are also grateful that Emo News continues to bring us everything that is going on the ground. So thank you, Emo. And also thank you for the recommendation for one of our guests this evening. Miss Kamasha Sylvester is her recommendation. So thank you for all that you do for Dominica. We also heard of the snap election on Sunday. So much going on in Dominica. The majority of our focus since Sunday has been on the snap election, which has been called for December 6th. We also saw the launching of the candidates last evening. But I have to tell you, my main focus while I was looking at this event on Facebook were the people in the audience. So there was a lot of action on the stage, but my main focus were the people in the audience because I kept thinking to myself, we as Dominicans, we are able to make so many more independent decisions if we are financially independent. And I think Dr. Valda Henry said it best that we are not truly independent unless we are financially independent. And so we have brought you an entire team of agro processors, experts in the fields, as well as buydominicaonline.com, because I always say, we have the pieces of the puzzle. All we need to do is to put it together so that we can create the financial opportunities that Dominicans at home and abroad need in order to be more independent, right? So here we are today. We are talking agriculture. We are talking agro-processing. And it was so disappointing last evening to hear one of the ministers says that Dominica has no resources. And I'm thinking to myself, with all the fertile land and the water and the abundance of talents, we have no resources. So here tonight, we are here to show that if we invest in our people, if we invest in their financial independence, they will be able to do so much more in terms of being independent in making other decisions, such as who governs them. So I'm truly happy that our guests are here with us this evening as we start this conversation, and we want to go ahead and invite them in very early into the program. So again, we have a number of agro processors. I think we just lost Vince here, but you'll be right back. So let us go ahead and begin with our agro processors, and then we will have our experts tell us a little bit about themselves. So Kamasha, I will start with you. Just give us a quick introduction of who you are, where you're from in Dominica, and the name of your product.
Yeah, good evening. I am Kamasha Sylvester and I am from Paybush. Usually I introduce myself by saying I'm from the capital of Dominica, which is Paybush. So, it's a little re-education for the people there that didn't know the real capital.
Right.
Yeah. I do packaged wild crafted sea moss. And my brand is Hey Mama.
Thank you for joining us. We have Mrs. Christiana Francis. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, as well as the name of your product?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Christiana Francis. My name of my business is Manny's Melts. I am from Point Michelle. um, I wouldn't really say that we are basically agriculture, but we do manufacturing. So we manufacture self-care products. Um, and some of the self-care products are like candles and foot scrubs, so stuff that are good for our well-being.
Thank you for joining us. Muriel, you can unmute your mic and introduce yourself.
Good evening to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening to all the participants and listeners of 295. I am Mrs. Miriam Eustache, a proud owner of the native Nutri cassava cuisine, located in Bataka Karinago territory on the northeastern side of the island. I am a local entrepreneur of a family-owned business which is in existence approximately 15 years. Native Nutri cassava produces mainly cassava products such as dukuna, which is one of the most popular snacks. Started with this product only, then started with this product only, then move on to various products such as composite bread, farin balls, pastries, cakes, flour, cassava chips, spicy and original. And the chips and farin balls can be served with a special sauce named tamarind sauce made of smoked fish or smoked chicken. Also, the fufu, which is next item to introduce on the market, served with curried goat and farin, cooked farin, and it is eaten by hands, by your hand, by your fingers, by your hand.
Excellent. So I can tell you have quite a diverse set of products that you're offering. So thank you for sharing. Miss Dr. Raphael, let's come over to you for your introduction.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Dr. Joanne Raphael. I am the proud owner of Buy Dominica Online. I was born in St. Joseph, Dominica, and I since reside in the United States since 1989. So it's been a long time. But you say you can take the person out of the country. You can't take the country out of the person. So I cook. I I have my saltfish every Sunday. So I am in academia. I have a PhD in economics, and I recently graduated with a master's in data analytics completely. But I'm a daughter of the soil. My father was a farmer, and I grew up um, carrying bananas and have my own vegetation. And I saw the struggles with agriculture, and I want to be a part of the solution.
Yes, absolutely. That is what we are talking about this evening, solution. And Mr. Charles, please introduce yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Ron Charles. I have been away from Dominica for several years, but let me begin from the beginning by saying that it was quite sad to see the devastation that was happening on the eastern side of the island as a result of the heavy rainstorm or freak storm, as some people call it, which reminded me of what happened to my village. I was born and raised in the village of Kulibistri on the western side of the island. And if you recall, back in 2017, Hurricane Maria did a number in Kulibistri, and the village has not really recovered since then. So moving right along, I am, in terms of who I am right now, as I said, I've been retired for a number of years. By training, I'm an agriculturist. I worked for several years as an agrologist, as we call them in Canada. And during that time, was involved mostly in shepherding industry development. I did that rather than through individuals. We worked with industry associations, and I have some experience in terms of getting people off the ground. In terms of my qualifications, I have a bachelor's degree in animal science and a master's degree in food science. I spent a fair bit of time, as I said, in combining those two disciplines and work as in industry development and program development. So beyond that, I'm not sure how much more you want from me at this point, but
Oh, that is perfect.
as the conversation goes on, we'll learn from each other. We'll find out a bit more about each other. Thank
Yes,
you very much.
and I sincerely want to thank you for reaching out to me through Push Past 10 to say, you know what, I would like to make a contribution because I have some knowledge and experience that I want to share. And that is what we're hoping to accomplish with this program. Because when we look back at the last 35 programs that we have done, we have had an array of professionals from Dominica who reside in Dominica and overseas. And they're all bringing their expertise so that we can create that financial independence. And you're going to hear that phrase a lot this evening because I truly believe that this is where it begins. Because take, for example, as long as probably Dr. Raphael out there, as well as millions of Americans went to the polls yesterday to vote for the midterms. And I can bet you not one of us was in the line thinking, oh, you know what? I better make sure Joe Biden doesn't find out who I am voting for so that I don't lose access to the home that was borrowed to me. My child doesn't get that scholarship. Whatever little NEP job that I have is not snatched away from me. So it begins, the conversation in my mind begins with financial independence. And that has been the theme of this program, Roots Connections, for the last year and a half. So again, welcome to Roots Connections. This is episode number 36 for today, November 9th, 2022. And I am your host, Simone Mathieu. Good evening to our Q95 listeners around the world, as well as everyone who's joining us via Facebook on Q95 Radio, Push Past 10, and Q95 FM Radio on YouTube. I already see we have, Peony Shirley's here, my mom, Medina Senhouse. So guys, come on in on the Facebook Live. And as you do, don't forget to share the live. We're looking forward to engaging with you via Facebook as well as your telephone calls this evening. And don't forget to visit q95da.com for all the best in programming. For example, we just recently had a program on the importance of cultural industries. And tonight I'm going to show how all what we're talking about this cultural industries. So we have a lot to cover this evening. Again, joining us is Miss Kama Sylvester from Hey Mama, Wild Crafted Caribbean Sea Moss. Miss Vincia Casey should be trying to come back in, showing, and Lambi, please see if she's trying to come in. She's from Waitukubuli Chilean Cocoa Products. We have Miss Muriel Eustace. Pronounce your last name for me, Muriel? Eustace. And she is from Natives Nutri Cassava Cuisine. We have Mrs. Krishana Francis from Manny's Melts. I think we're also expecting, please look out for Mr. Severa McKenzie from Dominica Manufacturers Association. And then out here in the US, we have Mr. Ron Charles, an expert in agriculture development and industry. And in the US as well, we have Dr. Joanne Jolly Raphael, the proprietor of Buy Dominica Online. So this evening, as always, we are grateful to Mr. G and the Q95 Radio for the opportunity to come here every other Wednesday to tap into our human resources and to reverse the drain brain and to create those financial opportunities. It is great to see Mr. Lambi Charles back on the console. Lambi, you were sorely missed. I am very happy to see that you're in good health and good spirits. Thank you to Sherwood Norris for keeping us connected. And before we get started, we always want to remember Kanisha Etienne. We cannot let Kanisha's disappearance be in vain. So the Dominica Child Protection Services Society has continued the efforts to keep her memory alive. As a matter of fact, we recently collaborated with the Sophia Miriam Foundation out of Trinidad. So we are spreading the word on the importance of empowering our children to speak up against sexual child abuse. And if you want to be a part of this movement, you can always join us and send me an email on pushpast10@gmail.com. So as we get started with the program, I see Vincia was finally able to join us. Vincia, it is great to see you. Please go ahead and just give us a 2-minute introduction of who you are and tell us a little bit about your product. Unmute your mic. No luck in unmuting? Oh boy. Oh wow. Well, while you're trying to unmute, let's go ahead and I want to play just about a 4-minute clip on what is agro-processing and the potential for agro-processing in the Caribbean region. So take a listen very closely to this information because I think it lays the groundwork for everything that we're trying to do. So Vincia, keep trying to unmute because I really want to hear from you this evening. I think you have a great product. So either try maybe a different device or maybe log out and log back in because you were working just fine before. So keep trying, okay? All right, guys. So not if you can hear the video that's playing for me.
Agro-processing refers to transforming agricultural produce into packaged, usable products for local and export consumption. The OECS has increased the good manufacturing capacities of member states. Over 100 agro-processing companies in the OECS participated in workshops that encouraged good manufacturing practices, GMP, and energy conservation in the production stages.
The main purpose of the project was really to build the export capacity of agribusiness and manufacturing firms within the OECS. In terms of the success of the project, to a large extent, the project was successful because we have had now quite a number of firms within the OECS being able to benefit from the project and strengthen their capacity to access export markets. We are able to undertake some training and capacity building in the area of good manufacturing practices, which a number of SMEs were able to benefit from. We had over 100 SMEs really participating in that activity and benefiting from that training. We also undertook intellectual property development training with SMEs to build their capacity to utilize intellectual property to develop their business capabilities.
The workshop was tailored to deliver training manuals and company-specific good manufacturing practices improvement plans.
In most member states, you have had some improvements in terms of agro-processing. But there are challenges still in terms of the wider ecosystem or environment that supports the sector. There are still some issues in terms of quality management, the capacity to overcome non-tariff barriers in export markets. But we have seen marked improvements in some areas in terms of the goods produced, the packaging of those products.
After completing 15 GMP audits, 5 companies were selected to receive technical assistance for implementing the improvement plans. In-plant GMP training was also conducted for 15 companies, resulting in 50 trained employees.
It's certainly necessary to boost the trade within the region. That is a goal that the OECS Commission has in terms of building the economic union. So projects like these help to support the private sector, SMEs, and help them to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that exist within the region.
Energy audits were completed in 6 OECS member states. The Grenada Marketing and National Importing Board demonstrates an improvement in its operations.
The goal of this.
So guys, I just wanted to give you an idea of what we're referring to. So if you missed the beginning of the video, it talked about, in a nutshell, agro-processing is transforming agricultural produce into packaged, usable products for local and export consumption. So in a nutshell, we're taking the agriculture that we grow in Dominica and we are using it to create products, because we have to think, when we think of agriculture, We have to think beyond, just selling dashing, just selling fig, just selling fish. We have to think we now live in a world where the word is convenience. Folks want convenient food that are easy to prepare, that have diverse opportunities to make various meals. And that is what we're referring to. Vinci, I see your mic is unmuted, so let me have you introduce yourself before we continue.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. My name is Vincia Casey, and I am from Bataka in the Kalinago territory. The name of my business is Waitukubulina Chiliali, which translates to English, it means I am Dominica's rising sun. I produce cocoa products, including cocoa sticks, cocoa balls, cocoa powder, and sometimes cocoa butter or cocoa fat. And I also do coconut oil, virgin coconut oil. I also expanded to do essential oils such as nutmeg, ginger, carrot, and bay leaf infused oil.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. So, what I want us to do this evening is kind of just look at agro processing in general, because according to the Business Research Company, we are looking at an industry that is an 12 billion with a B dollar industry. So in 2021, the agro processing industry worldwide was 11 billion, right? Now we are looking at an industry that is $12 billion industry. And as the world population continues to grow, we can expect that industry to grow even more. So how do we position our agro processors, the folks here who are using the raw materials out of Dominica? How are we positioning them to take a piece of the pie of the agro processing industry? And I think where we have to start with is to talk to the agro processors and see what their process is like. What are the challenges they are facing right now? Because the challenges leads us to what we need to do, which is where Mr. Charles will come in and kind of chime in terms of what else can be done to assist them. So, Krishana, let me begin with you. Kind of just tell us what raw materials that you use, the process that you go through to transform those materials, and some of the challenges that you're facing. And then we will simply go around the room to hear from our other business owners. You're muted.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not like the others that use Dashin or these other type
That's
of.
okay. What do you use?
I make candles, so what I use is wax. Now, some time back, because I have heard somebody tell me, and why haven't you tried beeswax? That was my first thing to do, to get beeswax from local beekeepers here, and to transform them into candles. However, it was very difficult for me because I would have to bleach the beeswax and different things. So I import my products. I order my soy wax. Um, the only product I have, or I try as much as I can to incorporate um the ingredients. I try as much to get ingredients that are here. Even with my candles, I've tried um locally made fragrances to try to see how I could incorporate something in it. But it has not been so successful for my candles. However, my scrubs, the ingredients that are in them are from the supermarkets, basically.
Mhm.
So it's things that you would get in your pantry, in your kitchen, or in a supermarket. It has ingredients like baking soda, vitamin E oil, um, Epsom salt, because my scrubs are made out of salt. Basically, it's a food scrub, so it's made out of salt.
Mhm.
um, The most recent product I have is a punch, coconut punch. So maybe that I can say.
Mm-hmm.
I use products that are made with the coconuts. It was grated from scratch. So we broke the coconut and we grated it. So maybe that's the only product I can say that um the items used in it are from here.
Yeah, but
So the
it still begs the question though, Christiana, why aren't you able to find the products that you need locally? For example, the wax, why aren't you able to find that locally? So it kind of gives us a sense of some of what we need to invest in to ensure that our agro processors and our business owners, our small business owners like you, have the tools that they need. So continue.
Yes, well, exactly that's it because well, for me, my only thing is I met during the independence I was out and someone met me and they told me why don't you use beeswax? And I said, well, I am in business for 6 years and I have attempted to use beeswax. I even have some in my what we call it, my stash. And I just left it as is because what I was trying to do is I was trying to bleach it using the sun, but that was not successful. And with Dominica's climate, the weather, I'm in Point Michelle, and to me, Point Michelle always have rain. That is my take. But like every time I maybe put it out in the sun, it was never successful because with beeswax you have the scent of honey and all these kind of a thing. So for a process like that, I would have to get a machine or whatever
Mhm.
to have it to bleach it because I am adding fragrance in my candle.
Right.
Um,
And we will come back to you to talk more about your challenges. But Mr. Charles, as we continue the conversation, and I want you to take some notes because one of the things I'm always finding when I speak to young entrepreneurs out of Dominica is everyone seems to be starting from scratch. And that cannot bode well if we're trying to build industries in Dominica, right? So in my mind, I think there is a great need for mentorship. There's a great need for some hand holding because many people step out of their comfort zones to be able to create these businesses. And what they need is the guidance from us and the access to international markets, such as what Dr. Raphael is doing. So just keep that in mind, Mr. Charles, when I come to you, so we can have a conversation about building industry and providing guidance. So, Miss Muriel, let me come over to you. Just kind of tell us about some of the products that you use. I know that you use cassava. So tell us about your process and tell us about what you do. Unmute.
Plants the crop, and from there we take it from there, we process it, like we grate it with a grater. We still starting from scratch as well, and he squeeze it out.
Mm-hmm.
The liquid that it consists of, and then we dry it and we get it to be dried. When the liquid is off, it gets dry. From there we um we weigh it out, and then we decide what amount of pounds we need to do certain things, like the dukuna, the farine, the different products. That's how we do it there. And we go on to do the different products like the tukuna. This is one. This is the most popular one. Everybody loves this one. Is wrapped in the leaves, and we do the cassava pone. We do the juice as well. This is a sample of the juice. This is the flavor. This is the ginger. We have different flavors like Guineas, coffee, ginger, rum and raisin, cherries, coconut. This is, and we can add many other flavors to them, to just the juice.
Right. And something else that comes to mind, where are you doing your production? Where are you producing your
Well,
drink?
I am doing my production in my kitchen.
Yep, that's always the story.
Yes, that is where we are
Mhm.
trying to construct an outlet or a bigger kitchen that is well equipped for this process. But then we have got some challenges as well in
Mhm.
finance.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Vincia, let me come over to you. Muriel, you can
Okay.
mute.
So some of the raw materials that I use, most of the everything is raw material. Coconut for the oil, ginger, the bay leaves, carrot, nutmeg. Um, for the cocoa, I buy cocoa beans, nutmeg. I use bay leaves, spice. So basically, everything around my business, I have to get from the farmers.
Mhm. And where are you doing your productions?
Wherever I am,
At your home?
renting or home, yes.
Right, exactly. Kama, over to you.
Hi, well, my product is still 100% natural. It cannot get more natural than this. We do sea moss. So we get the sea moss dried. We ensure that it is cleaned. We bag, weigh, seal. And that's about the process in a nutshell.
And what are some of the benefits of CMOS? How do you actually use it?
Sea moss have a whole heap of benefits. We could talk about that whole night.
Tell us
Um,
some.
but some of the benefits is good for people with hypertension as well as
Mhm.
diabetes. Sea moss is good for hair growth. It's good for skin. Yeah, shout out to Vincia. You might need to use that one of those days. um, it's good for so many things. Stomach issues. If you have like upset stomach and so, I recommend that you use sea moss. It's good for people who are interested in losing weight. Um, for centuries it's been hailed in the Caribbean as a natural aphrodisiac. So this should be something the men should be interested in. Um, it regulates thyroid health. So for some people that have an increase in the size of the thyroid, that is where your throat or you're getting kind of goiter or something of that sort. CMOS would be the perfect thing for that. It also strengthens your joints and your connective tissue. I mean, a whole heap of benefits. As a matter of fact, the whole country should be consuming CMOS daily because they have absolutely nothing to lose.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you're done talking. Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for sharing your products with us. And of course, towards the end of the program, I want to make sure everyone knows how to find your product. But as we go over to Dr. Raphael and Mr. Charles, I want us to talk about standards. Because one of my greatest concerns, and again, I've had quite a bit of experience speaking to entrepreneurs in Dominica, is that, we have some standards in Dominica, but unfortunately, if we are thinking about regional and even international markets, we are going to face some challenges. So, Mr. Charles, do you think there are any standards we should be keeping in mind as we move forward with agro processing?
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I think one of the principles of processing in Canada, I'm sorry, we tend to use the word further processing, whether we're talking about agricultural products or forest products. But I would say, to go back to your point, standards. One, you have to have standards, especially if you're going to be targeting marketing outside of your local area. Even for regional marketing, in a product, I'm just going to point out. So the product that we talked about, the CMOS, it is not strictly speaking an agricultural product. It is a marine product, but it can fall within the realm of agri-processing. I have noticed that because this is an area I didn't know very much about, I thought I would check it out. There are a number of regional producers of CMOS, notably St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, as well as Barbados. One of the key standards you have in a product like that, of course, is color. Unless you have, I'm going to assume that the moss does not come in a uniform color in its raw material when you pick it from the ocean. Or am I right in saying that you harvest as well? You harvest from the ocean?
No, I don't. I source from farmers.
Oh, you source from farmers. So there are people that are harvesting the moss and they dry it, or do you dry it?
They harvest the moss and they dry the moss. I just collect the moss.
Okay.
You take it the next step. Absolutely. Brilliant.
Okay, so you are in that intermediary state in that you get a product that has already had some processing, whether it's drying or bleaching, and then you package it. Your packages then, are they standardized, or you have so many grams, different sizes, etc.?
Well, the packages were approved by the Dominica Bureau of Standards.
Okay.
According to the standards of Dominica, you must have your generic name, which would be CMOS, your brand name, your weight in metric contents, place it is made, which is product of Dominica, and how to store it, basically. But my package has a little more information because we even have our QR code where you could scan it and it will take you straight to our Instagram page because we hype like that. And basically just trying to get stuff done professionally.
Yeah.
And Mr. Charles, let me just interject and ask the rest of our agro processors, were you guys also able to go through the Bureau of Standards, or are you just simply navigating your own waters when it comes to the standards of your products? Vincia, Muriel, Krishana?
Training in the Kalinago territory with the Bureau of Standards, but because of the costs for approving the labels and doing product testing and all of these things, well, I haven't gone through that process as yet.
Right, because it is a cost, right?
Yes.
So another conversation we need to have while we're here is the importance of financing, the importance of grants to assist someone like Vincia, who has the passion, who has the access to the resources, who has the knowledge, but she doesn't have the finances to be able to take all necessary steps. Anyone else went for the Bureau of Standards, or you're simply just walking through your own process? Krishana?
For me, I have not gone for the Bureau of Standards. However, I know of their labeling. I have been to how we call it, I have been to trainings about how you have to create your labels and what are the necessary details you should have on a label. But I have not gone through it. Again, like Vincent said, the costing, and all these other stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, and the goal for all our producers has to be beyond Dominica. Because when we think about it, Dominica only has about 65,000, 70,000 people. right? So how does that sustain everyone who has an idea? So we have to start thinking in terms of standards to be able to move our products beyond. Dominica, Muriel, you wanted to chime in? You're muted.
Can I just say something here?
Yes, go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
If we don't even have, yeah, oh, sorry. If we don't even have a full standard here, we cannot even begin to talk about standards outside of the United States or outside of Dominica, because then we have to do with FDA, um,
Mhm.
the Food and Drug Administration up here. So it is something that probably in the short term we have to fix in order for us to be prepared for more international markets.
Mr. Charles, continue.
Yes, I think our last speakers really touched on an important point there. If you're looking at marketing beyond your local area, you know, you can't underestimate the value of the standard. The question that I have is beyond the Bureau of Standards, are there any resources available either with the Agriculture Division or otherwise that would assist you in moving towards, you know, improving? Because the presentation of your product depends very much on standardization of some form. You know, if you're talking about having your product outside of Dominica, which I think some of you would like to do, and to, because as Muriel mentioned, you know, the market in Dominica is not a very large market. So potentially, if you're going to do any investment in there, you have to have your eyes down the road. Now, it may take you a while to get there, but you have to have that vision of where do I want to go with that product.
And just a quick question: how many people are trying to reach markets outside of Dominica? I thought so. Muriel, did you want to make a contribution? You wanted to say anything? Unmute your mic.
I was saying that the Bureau of Standards is in the process of testing the juice and some of the products I usually have through ICA. I think that they are paying the fee for it for that process.
Right. Excellent. Good to hear. And Doc, let me come over to you because you are on the receiving end of these Dominican products. So kind of just give us a little bit of a walkthrough with regards to what you do with buydominicaonline.com, because I think you are the portal that we need to get many of our products into the international markets to gain that financial independence that we are talking about on this program this evening. So kind of just walk us through Buy Dominica Online, your process. How do you pick up the products? Who do you have products from? And then tell us about the challenges that you find with regards to the standards of the products and what needs to be improved.
Well,
Okay.
well, Buy Dominica Online basically is a secure online website in the United States, where products are being purchased from Dominica. They are being fulfilled in South Florida, where I reside, and then we ship it to our customers. And we have customers in the United States, Canada, Europe, and we're hoping to target the entire globe. So that's our goal. Our goal here is also to assist and to educate manufacturers and support the manufacturers. We get a lot of great feedback from our customers. I solicit feedback. If it's good, it's good. If it needs extra sugar, if it's too small, if it's too big, if it's too whatever it is, we want to hear from our customers, because then I can go back to our manufacturers and say, listen, maybe we need to think about it that way. Maybe the packaging needs to be improved. Maybe the product itself needs to be improved. So that feedback, I really want to pass it along to our manufacturers to make them better. So I don't only see myself as just a seller of Dominica products, but mere providing the feedback to our manufacturers to improve the process. One of the things I was listening to Miss Francis, she mentioned about the coconut punch. Now, it might be extremely expensive to be able to ship the punch from Dominica to me in Florida. But what happens if you were to think about what if we make um, a a powder of some sort, where, or maybe a syrup of some sort, where it is condensed, it's bottled, or it's packaged in a small way, where all we would need to do is tell us how much milk, tell us how much rum to put, and here, voila, we have our coconut punch. So we have to think of those things in ways. The same is true about Miss Victoria. She talked about, Miss
Is it
Muriel,
Vincent?
who's talking about all. What's that?
We don't have a Victoria on the panel. What product?
Okay, so I'm having trouble. But yes, but
That's
the cassava, the
yes,
cassava, we have to
Vincia.
think about. We would love to be able to have those cassava, but what happens? How long can it last if it's been imported from Dominica to Florida? In terms of refrigeration, in terms of durability, so shelf life. So a lot of things we have to think about to be creative so that we'll be able to prepare ourselves to the
Mhm.
external market. And not to forget there's FDA standards that if you are manufacturing products from of any sort, that there's FDA requirement. And one of the things that By Dominica tries to offer is support in that area, where we'll be able to support manufacturing and assist in that capacity for FDA registration and renewal.
Yeah, excellent. It almost sounds like we need a board to just guide our Dominican entrepreneurs to just what are the steps do you take to get the process going, and to always have that vision, like Mr. Charles mentioned, because we have to have a vision that is not limited to Dominica. If we're looking, why don't we have millionaires? We should have millionaires in agro processing, because we have a world that is almost 10 billion people, right? It's slated to be almost 10 billion people, and we're just asking for a very small pie out of a $12 billion industry. Mr. Charles, you had any other thoughts you wanted to share?
Uh, I think I'll come back. You can cycle around. I'll be back. Well, collect my
Yes.
thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you for that. So let me go back to our processes, our agro processes, and just find out what are the challenges that you're facing. For example, financing. How did you get financing for your business? How do you continue to get finances? What is your business plan? Because I think what happens is we start these businesses, and for many of us, we just see it as like a hobby. It's just something that we're doing. But can you have a vision that you want this to be your main income earner? So what would it take to make this your main income earner, to the point where you're able to hire other Dominicans and make that their income earner as well? So I want to go around the room and just let's throw out some other ideas with regards to the other challenges that you're facing, in terms of where are you getting money to be able to do what you're doing? Are you making a profit? How can the public assist you? How are you promoting your business? So what is your business plan? Krishana, let me come over to you. And if you haven't
Um,
thought it through, it's okay too, that because that is why we're having this conversation. So don't be bashful.
okay. For me, I have gotten assistance once with a grant, and then after I had to apply for the loan when they had the COVID, because then during COVID, my business is not, I wouldn't call my business also popular, because a lot of persons, at first I thought that a lot of persons did not know about my business, and then I came to realize that maybe persons are just not as interested in candles or whatever, because I don't only do scented candles. I have a variety of different products. So I have scented candles, I have massage candles. Persons have never heard of that, and when I tell them about it, they ask, what is a massage candle? I have tried I mark it on my own, so I have learned that I have to be out there. I've brought myself out, show my face, let persons know who I am, about my family life, myself and my business came about, because my business is not just a hobby. um I have a full-time job, but
Mm-hmm.
whenever I get into creating my products, I get excited, because it's just the fact that I'm making something that can help somebody else. It just excites me. So I don't think of my business as a hobby. I think of it as I hope to reach to that point where I wouldn't have to work my um I wouldn't call it a 9 to 5, because I'm a teacher, and a teacher is wrong the clock. So
24 hours.
yes. So I wouldn't call it, but I, as much as I love my job, I also want, at least if I'm not I'm still a teacher, I would like at least to be able to employ somebody. You know, for now, how my business operates, I can't get a salary from it. That's being honest. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I don't have enough, I use from my salary to purchase. Or if I know that I want to bring out, because I have, like, currently I am working on something for Christmas, because last year I introduced my self-care boxes, and this year I want to introduce something additional in the boxes. And so right now I have to train myself, because I mean we are in November and December is like, you time you blink your eyes is almost there. So I have to think of, what can I do? How much can I sell? What can I push in order for me to get to that point that I want to get these products. These are the products that I want to get out, because I want people to know about it. And that's the that's the kind of difficult thing. I have also tried. I am not saying that I have also tried the US, because I have family members who live there, but to get it out of Dominica, it's very costly.
Yep.
And so I had to look at different alternatives. If it means getting persons that come down, friends of my father or my parents, or whoever, to get to carry some for me to bring it up to. I have a cousin who is more than willing. She normally goes out there, and she would mark it for me and get persons to buy their self, family members or their self up there. They use it if they have an option, because I also make creams,
Mm-hmm.
and I make a variety. I have a good amount of products that can fill a box to make a gift. So I have it. There's so many different things that it's kind of but
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. So let's go around and hear some of the other business plans. How are you marketing? How are you doing promotions? And when we come back to Dr. Raphael and Mr. Charles, I want us to also talk to, as you as the experts in these industries, the importance of knowing the competition, because I was looking at the T Village events over the Creole season, and I saw about like five different peanut punch and punch and punch and punch. And I'm just thinking, great. I want people to have opportunities. We all want folks to have opportunities, but are we paying attention to the competition? And are we trying to diversify our products to ensure that in some way we stand out? Because I'm a huge fan of everyone doing what they're passionate about. And if we have 10 brands of peanut punch, that's okay. But how are we monitoring the competition, and how are we diversifying? So when we come to you, Mr. Charles and Doc, this is what I want us to include as well. But let's continue to go around the room, because I'm sure we have many folks out there who are thinking of launching a business, and they're thinking to themselves, what do I need to think about with regards to a business plan? So, Carmen, let me come over to you. What is your business plan? What is your vision for your company?
My ambition for Hey Mama is to have Hey Mama in every supermarket, every shop, on every lips, every school, every child should know about Hey Mama. It's like it should not be a secret. Hey Mama should be like oxygen. You just can't do without it. That is the ambition. Um, uh, Unlike most of the other entrepreneurs there or here, I only launched in September on September 30th of this year.
Oh.
So I am pretty fresh.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, uh, the idea came about last year, while last year November to be exact, after the independence season. I had a lot of crab.
Mm-hmm.
So when you eat a lot of crab, they always tell you need to purge and cleanse and so.
Oh, you do?
So part of the cleansing involved consuming CMOS daily. So I was like, like why everybody not into that?
Mm-hmm.
So I started playing with the idea in my head. I played around with it. Then I went back and forth with the design, several back and forth, because you want to get the ideal package, and if it is not perfect, then I don't want it. So until it got to perfection, we had back and forth. But I started sometime last year, maybe January, doing selling CMOS out of brown pouches. Now I'm not sure if you know the brown pouches. You could buy sugar in at Astafans.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I started selling the CMOS in. At that time, I was an employee of Domlec. Big up to my people at Domlec in the generation plant. That is the Sugarloaf. They were very supportive, 100% supportive. I appreciate all the fellas there, all, because they really gave me that push and that encouragement. Um, but in terms of challenges for me, or yeah, challenges basically, it would be markets. And when I say markets, I mean regional as well as international, because I firmly believe if there's a profit of 12 billion, I would like my portion.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you deserve it.
yes, and our population isn't capable of consuming the amount of CMOS that I have the ambition to produce.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely need outside markets, preferably above Dominica, not below Dominica, because the competition down there is pretty stiff in terms of CMOS production. But once it leaves Dominica, go up to Guadeloupe, then it's a little more scarce. So I'd be grateful if I could get markets up that side.
Mm-hmm. So you're doing your research.
Yes. Um, but yeah, currently I am at supermarkets. Well, most major supermarkets in Dominica, you could find the CMOS there, because
Excellent.
yeah, that is the ambition. So we are at S-Mart, Fresh Market, ACS, Astafans, Wheat Church,
Wow.
Discount, Nature Discount. We had Savers, Plan Home Decor. We just trying to cover ground in a very
Mm-hmm.
short space of time.
Yeah.
The ambition, like I said, is to be everywhere. So until then, I'm not going to cease from marketing. What I use as my market would be my mouth. First of all, I market myself any and everywhere. I always
Excellent.
have two pouches on me or more, just in case, because you never know who you bounce up with. I use Instagram, and I'm a big Instagram person. Instagram, and I link my Instagram to my Facebook. So whenever I post on Instagram, it's also posted on my Facebook. I also started a TikTok page, because TikTok is actually the way to go right now,
Yep.
because the population is, it's enormous. You could reach so many people on TikTok. So I'm not sure whether the other entrepreneurs here are on TikTok, but if you would like to make some movement globally, TikTok is the way to go.
Yes, thank you for that. And Muriel and Vinci, I want to come to you guys, but we finally was able to get Mr. Sevra McKenzie into the room. We were having some challenges getting Mr. McKenzie into the room, so we're happy he is able to join us this evening, and he represents the Dominican Manufacturers Association. And as you know, this evening we are looking at the topic beyond peeling fig and dashing. Are we taking advantage of advances in agriculture, such as agro-processing, to be able to give our Dominicans at home and abroad that financial independence that we know is necessary in order for people to be able to make other decisions, such as who governs them? Because I have to tell you, you cannot bite the hand that is feeding you. If someone is the one paying your rent, putting food on your table, sending your child to school, do you really have a choice with regards to if you vote them in or not? So, Sabri, I know you have a lot to say on the topic, so I want to welcome you to the program. Thank you for your patience with regards to getting us, and just kind of tell us if you have any thoughts on the topic and the role of the Dominica Manufacturers Association in all of this.
All right. Good evening, Simone, and let me say good evening to your guests.
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to be there. I realized that the plane was delayed, so I was in the waiting room.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not really representing the Manufacturers Association per se. I tried to get the president of the Manufacturers Association, John Robin, who is in fact an agro processor and has been into the Benjo's CMOS for some time, exporting quite a bit of his stuff. My connection with manufacturing is in fact I was the president of the Dominican Manufacturers Association for quite a number of years, and this is because I operated the toilet paper factory in Dominica, which since Hurricane Maria has not been back in operation. But in fact, I am an architect by profession. I drifted away into manufacturing for a short while and then went back to what I am supposed to do. But I think I spent about 10 years in the Manufacturers Association when we actually reactivated it, because it had been dormant for quite a number of years. And some of the things that we actually did for the agro-processing industry was to establish what we referred to as the Buy Dominica Super Center, where we established a small outlet for our local manufacturers, particularly the local products. And we were in fact using this as an incubator where manufacturers, particularly the cottage industries, who could not access space in the supermarkets, then they had an outlet where people could actually try their products. And what we saw with the Buy Dominica Super Center was a significant increase or improvement in the quality of the products that were actually coming in. Over during the 3 years that we operated the shop, in fact, the Buy Dominica Super Center was devastated by Hurricane Maria, when it was flooded and then looted, and all attempts that were made to get it back on track were unsuccessful. And many of the efforts were actually mine, because we, in addition to the Buy Dominica Super Center, we had actually started a regular promotion for local goods, which we called Buy Dominica. And so we had Buy Dominica during Carnival, Buy Dominica Easter, Buy Independence and Christmas. Yeah, people actually, and by the time Hurricane Maria struck, we had over 200 different items at the shop, and we were in the process of establishing a Buy Dominica shop in Guadeloupe, because we realized that there is quite a big Dominican population in Guadeloupe, And but Maria interrupted everything. But one of the main problems with the agro-processing industry in Dominica is the fact that we do not produce raw materials for manufacturing. So, for example, let's take passion fruit for an example. There is a particular type of passion fruit that can be considered the best for manufacturing because it has a lot of pulp. Because but you do not find this type of you do not find it in production. So even when Bello was operating, and unfortunately Bello saw the demise of Bello came also at during Hurricane Maria, you know, and Bello was in fact the foremost agro-processing industry in Dominica. I mean, Bello's products had actually made it internationally. And the information I have about Bello is the fact that they were actually producing Bello products in the United States on some type of franchise or brand, and we were importing Bello products into Dominica. Yeah, but one of the main problems with the agro-processing sector is the fact that is one that we do not produce crops for manufacturing, and two, the volume that is being produced as it relates to economy of scale. So, for example, if you go to the persons who were processing passion fruits for passion fruit syrup, and I'm sure everyone would have been very much familiar with the type of passion fruit syrup that Dominica produced. You know, everybody have tried to do it, and they have just not gotten the formula to produce Dominica's passion fruit syrup. But at the end, it started losing its Dominican-ness because even the passion fruit pulp had to be imported. And this was simply because passion fruits were being produced by small farmers. And when a small farmer harvests a bag of passion fruits, instead of selling a bag of passion fruits at 50 cents a pound for Bello, he could go to the Rosa market and sell two passion fruits for $1. And if Bello were to buy one passion fruit for 50 cents, you could imagine the amount of passion fruits that they had to buy to make one bottle of passion fruit syrup, which is basically almost the same thing that happens to the coconut oil, the virgin coconut oil, as a product that a dry coconut costs $3. And at one time, it even cost $5 just after the hurricane. We have not had a coconut rehabilitation program since the hurricane. And in fact, the last coconut rehabilitation program that we had in Dominica was way back after Hurricane David in 1984. So over the last 84, at 16, and by the time, so the coconut trees were before Hurricane Maria were 32 years old, and they were coconut trees that people could hardly, you had to depend on coconuts dropping, dry coconuts dropping for you to be able to harvest because they were just too tall for you to, So, but since Maria, what actually happened to the coconut oil industries, particularly virgin coconut oil, is the cost of one coconut ended up being so expensive that by the time you produce one bottle of coconut oil, when you go to the supermarket, the coconut oil is $60. And you cannot blame the producers for that. Because if you need 10 dry coconuts to produce one bottle of coconut oil and you're buying one coconut for $5 or $4, that's $40 already. Then you've got to buy the bottle and you've got to. So these are some of the problems and the challenges that the agro-processing industry has in Dominica, that you do not have the raw materials being produced on island, and the farmers who produce some of the raw materials, as soon as they get a higher price for it, they will not supply you. And for the small producers to produce their own raw materials, what is the volume of raw materials can they produce on their own to make it a viable enterprise? And in addition to that, one of the things that we actually did with when we in the manufacturing with the manufacturing Dominican Manufacturers Association, when I was president, was that we tried to impress on the Aid Bank and the Ministry of Agriculture and the government that they should dedicate a production area in the Canefield industrial site estate where they could prepare a facility for small agro processors to come in and share space.
Yeah, because you're so right, Mr. McKenzie, because, I've had so many conversations with entrepreneurs and agro-processors, and even some of who are here with us this evening. And that's the first thing they say. We're doing all of this out of our homes, out of our kitchens. And I'm thinking to myself, why haven't we invested in a facility where space can be utilized by multiple businesses in order to make it more efficient?
The problem is, in fact, we started a program with the University of Dayton, Ohio, which is where we got some students to come in, and we had them immersed with some of our local agro processors. And one particular year, we had them immersed with some of the producers some of the agro processors who produce coconut cheese. In fact, at the end, we even had a coconut cheese competition, and it was really, really a successful one where they came out with the varieties of coconut cheese. And at the end of the exercise, we tried the top 3 winners of the coconut cheese competition. We approached the youth division, who has a facility in High Street next to the Inland Revenue Division, which is some youth facility. They had they had a good kitchen facility, and we in fact negotiated with them and negotiated with the Aid Bank, and the Aid Bank made some finances available. Because what you had was a situation where the coconut cheese producers, all of them were using their graters and the blenders. In fact, one of the things that the students from the University of Dayton, Ohio, discovered was all the coconut cheese producers were complaining of how much heat they have to take and the stirring and the amount of time it was taking for them to produce their coconut cheese. And the students within what, 5 days, they came back and they said, but they understand it because the coconut cheese producers are putting so much water in the coconut, when the grated coconut, to extract the milk. So when you start making coconut cheese, you have to evaporate all the water, and this is taking time. So they just gave them a simple thing. Look, watch me. You do not have to add water to the grated or blended coconut. You just have to use a proper sieve and just squeeze it and extract all the milk from it, so that when you finish with the extracting process, it's dry. There is no more milk in it. You do not need to pour water in it to extract, because what you'll be putting is just water. And they immediately reduce the time of production by 66%.
Wow.
So those who were making coconut taking 3 hours, just mixing and turning around,
Right.
Um,
And you know, that is why we need forums such as this, because I'm hoping that the agro processors here and those who are listening to the program are already getting ideas of how they can be more efficient, because that is what is necessary. Can you imagine spending 3 hours creating your products, and you could when you could cut 60% of the time off, and nobody had thought about it before? That is why we engage with different experts in these areas. But I will come back to you, Mr. Mackenzie. But Muriel, I wanted to come to you as well, so you can tell us about your challenges. And then Mr. Charles, I want to come to you as well, because, you know, as somebody who has created industry, I want to know, what are we missing? Why haven't we gotten this off the ground? And then I see lots of great comments on the Facebook Live. I also want us to go to the telephones, and then we have to go back around as well. So let us go over to you, Muriel. Just kind of tell us some other challenges that you're facing. Where do you need help? What can we do to support you? Unmute.
Yes, my greatest challenge is in my production, to test the shelf lives of the product. But my sale is okay. I don't have any problem with my sale of my product.
Excellent.
The demand is very high, and my people are very supportive of my product, and I'm satisfied with the income. But the only challenge is that maybe finance. Because I need a wider area to do, and a kitchen that is well equipped.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for sharing. I'm happy to hear that you're making a profit. Vincia, let me come to you. Thank you for joining us again. I know that your internet is not stable, but keep trying, okay? Because we really enjoy having you on the program. So tell us your challenges that you're facing and how we can support you. You're muted.
Oh,
Yes, you're good. You can talk.
okay. All right. One of the recent challenges I've had was sourcing cocoa beans, because we used to get cocoa beans from Dexia all the time, and now we don't. So we have to get it locally, and it's kind of scarce. What I have done is passed around in the Kalinago territory and kind of engaged the farmers, so they know that I am producing cocoa sticks and other products. So I left my telephone number and I told them, whenever you have available, just call me. It's also a challenge to find the coconuts. When I just started, I had to get assistance from one of my past landlady. She sent me a bag of coconuts to assist me, and then I have to be purchasing from the locals here. But it's also kind of scarce because people use coconuts for everything. Some craft producers, like Muriel, she'll use the coconuts in her products as well, and there are other coconut oil producers. So it's kind of scarce from my end. It's hard to source. The other challenges would be with space. I need a proper space to work. I am also a mom of 2 daughters, and since I am doing everything from scratch by myself, sometimes it becomes overwhelming. But I must say that the support has been tremendous, both in my community and outside of Dominica. Sometimes I've had to ship to St. Martin, I've sent stuff to Martinique, Guadeloupe, and people in the US, especially persons from the Kalinago territory who knows that I am producing those items. They support my business. I've been able to send this a few times to England, and I'm just grateful for all the support. I cannot say that I have been able to put my products on any shelves in the supermarket. Although I hope at some point that I can produce enough so that I have extra to put on the shelves of supermarkets and shops. But we'll see what happens in a few years.
And that is the goal. Get it on the supermarket shelves in Dominica and take it beyond Dominica. Mr. Charles, let me come to you for your thoughts. Let me come to you for your thoughts, because I know that you have built these industries. So let's just have some thoughts from you. Unmute. Unmute.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting listening to Vince here. I mean, it seems that at this point she's satisfied in terms of the returns, but she does admit to a number of issues. And one of the things that I wondered about as I listened to her was, you have a range of products that you're doing. Which one of them would you consider your main product?
Lindsay?
The cocoa sticks.
The cocoa sticks. Okay. Are your cocoa sticks very different? There are a number of people in Dominica making cocoa sticks or processing them. Are yours significantly different, or where is the difference in yours? Where can you pinpoint to the customers, so my cocoa sticks over the many cocoa sticks around?
Okay, from feedback that I have received is that my cocoa sticks are very delicious because
Okay.
it's not just pure cocoa. I add different spices, but I kind of try and keep my recipe a secret.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's very rich. So
no, that's
my customers always tell me to, because I normally send cocoa sticks to Portsmouth so my mom can sell. And there
Right.
are customers who will refuse to buy from other cocoa producers, and they wait until my mom has a supply so they can buy from her.
And that speaks to the importance of a niche market, right? Getting to know your customers and knowing what they want.
Good, good. How do you communicate with your customers, or have you thought of ways of communicating with them so that you are always in touch with them and they are in touch with you? Because it has to be a two-way streak. Marketing, you depend a lot on the feedback that you get from your customers. And that's going to make quite a difference. Now, you mentioned...
So I have...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Vincent.
Okay, well, I just created a Facebook page. I also use my phone, and whenever I get messages, I respond as soon as I can. And whenever persons purchase from me for the first time, I always ask them to give me their reviews, their feedback, how I can improve my product, whether or not they're satisfied.
Good. Have you got a little business card?
Yes, I do.
That you can hand out to people. Very good. That's excellent. With your phone number and contact where they can meet you.
Yes, sir.
That's excellent. You see, you've gone through, from what I hear from you, is that you're making quite an effort to get your product out there. Now, the thing I have to ask you now, you mentioned earlier that you were hoping for something. Now, in the business world, or in agri-processing, or anything that I have been involved with, you don't hope, you target. You say, this is where I want to go. Not hope. I mean, hope is something hanging in the air. But you target, you can control your targeting, you can work towards the mechanisms that help with your targeting. And if you have, I would like you to have this frame of mind from hope to target. This is where I want to go. This is my goal. And with that in mind, and I'm sure you probably just haven't articulated that, but you've thought about it. But I just wanted to tell you that's important to get around this idea of hoping for something, but rather saying, this is where I want to go.
Yes, sir.
That's
Thank you.
brilliant. And keep in mind, guys, this, we're speaking to Vince here, but this is for everyone. So I hope that you're taking notes on the questions that you ought to be asking yourself. Do I have a business card? Am I in contact? How do I know the quality of my products? What are my targets? Not my hopes. I so appreciate you saying that, Mr. Charles. Not my hopes, but what are my targets? And I especially like how Karma approaches it. She's her own walking billboard. She always has her products with her just in case she runs into someone she can sell it to, because it becomes a 24-hour business. Because you as the entrepreneur, you're doing most of the work. So I want to come to you, Dr. Raphael, and then we're going to go over and open the lines for phone calls, as well as take some comments. And then, guys, when we come back, because we're quickly running out of time, I think we need 3 hours, Mr. G. But when we come back, Krishana, Vincia, Kama, when we come back, I want you guys to just get an opportunity to promote your products. Let us know where we can get your products, the price range, so we as a community can support you. So if you need to make some quick notes in terms of where exactly how folks can get in touch with you to be able to purchase your products, make some quick notes, because when we come back from the other side of the break with regards to taking phone calls and taking some great Facebook comments that I am looking at, we want to come back and give you a few minutes to promote your products. And then Severa will just come back to you for your final thoughts as well. So Doc, let me come to you. Just, you've been in this business for a while. I feel like we've been together for a while. So just kind of tell us your general observations with regards to what we are producing in Dominica, with regards to competition, just in general. What are your thoughts, your observations since you've been in this business?
So we've said it, we've all said it. We have some challenges. We have challenges with cost, raw materials, and we mentioned even supply chain. So what I've also heard wellness sells. So we now need to think about selling the experience. So we need to it's not just a product now you're selling the experience. So in my case, when I receive Dominica products, and for all those reasons you mentioned, the coconut is very expensive, DHL is very, shipping is very expensive. So I am buying products from Dominica at a high cost and adding to it shipping expenses. So I'm going to have to sell it. So then, how do I justify maybe a soap for six something? How do I justify that? So what I do is add value. I try to not, because with Amazon and with Walmart, if you order from them, they throw the item in a box and you just get the box. So I realized that I need to add value to this. So when my customers put an order, I wrap it like a gift. It's like a gift from Dominica to you. I go on and I put a little tag that says, you know, we appreciate your business. We solicit feedback from customers, so we do that extra to add value to it. It's not just about the product. You have to think beyond just a product. It's an experience. It's like Disney. When you go to Disney, they're ready to take all your money. They shake all the money off your pocket. It's you have to think about your product as you. It's you're not just selling CMOS. It's all about the experience. No,
And
another
I
thing
just want to
too.
interject for one quick second, Doc, because I'm so happy you brought that up. Because one of the conversations we've started right here on Q95 is the importance of the cultural industry. So I had a program, Mr. G followed it up with another program, because we have to start thinking about, we live in the US, Doc, and everything is about supporting a cause. Many businesses now, it's about supporting the cause. So we have to create, this is a part of a larger conversation where we have to create a cultural industry that includes not just our music, our dance, our clothing, but includes our oils, includes our candles, includes our CMOS, includes our cocoa products, includes our cassava products, because those are part of our traditions. Those are part of the things that make us uniquely Dominican, uniquely Creole. How many islands in the Caribbean can boast having Kalinago, African, and even some European heritage? We are very unique as Dominicans. So how do we take that and make it a part of the cultural industry and sell that to the world? So that is part of the larger conversation I hope that we are creating and we are continuing with this program, because that in itself have many opportunities for financial independence. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Doc, go ahead, please.
No, not at all. I mean, it would be, I'm listening to all these amazing products that we have. I mean, we need to incorporate those products in our hotels. There's no way I should go to Dominica hotels and should be drinking Coke and this. Why not CMOS? Why not coconut water? Why am I not getting those things at our hotels? We need to promote what we grow. And another thing about it is that, think about it, Simone, we've been here for a very long time. I know about Bayram, but if we're not careful, our kids won't know about Bayram if we don't educate them. So we really need to that conversation needs to continue, that we need to be able to teach our kids. We need to be able to appeal to the Dominican market, that it's not just a cocoa stick. You are supporting manufacturing in Dominica. So we got to take this. This is not the end of this conversation. We need to educate, we need to support our locals, we need to eat what we grow,
And grow
and
what we eat.
I think we need to take that to a larger conversation.
Yeah, and take it one step further. Grow what we eat what we go, and transform it and purpose it for local and external consumption. But we must take a pause. Thank you so much. This is such invaluable information everyone is providing. But let's take a quick break as we go over to the studio to invite our callers to come in to the conversation. Lambi, over to you.
Thank you. You're listening and viewing Roots Connection and Q. The numbers for calling in are as follow: 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, and on the overseas line is 305-432-9624. Back to you, Simon.
Yes, thank you. And as we await your calls, I saw some great comments coming in on the Facebook. So again, we want to thank everyone who's joining us via the radio, Facebook, and YouTube Live on Q95 FM radio. We have Peony Shirley, very good program. I'm watching. My mom, Medina Senos, good night. D.A. Rose, listening. Auntie Hummy, Humilion Watson, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Not Nice, Easy Dog, good evening. Tina, great to see you. I'm here, was listening on Q. Good night, all. October's is here with us, and this folk, I'm not sure male or female, says good evening. Very imperative conversation. And this person goes on to say, Mr. McKenzie, what are the association's challenges with packaging materials, example, glass jars and containers for preserves? So Mr. McKenzie, take a couple of notes. I think he has some questions. As we speak, we have a problem with access to glass jars. In particular, some small businesses have had to halt production because of this. And the person continues, we need to get to this level. I think they're sharing a website with us. I look forward to the day when we hear all allocations or concessions to entities such as the Manufacturers Association to empower them in addressing these issues. Alvin Thomas, great to have you on board. He's tuned in. Great discussion so far. October's continues. Who supplied the jars for Bello? We need that connection. We paying almost $500 to import 90 glass jars into Dominica, and that is with duty free. The association should partner with DSWMC and retailers for a good bottle recycling plan. Waste not, want not. All the Mathieu jars and other imported jars, what happened to them? Where are the linkages? Thank you so much, October. Some really great questions and great points. Alvin, wow, that's incredible. October's continues. We make coconut cheese, and this is good information. Alvin Mackenzie is there currently a functional manufacturers association. Veronica, good evening, everyone. And Alvin, absolutely. Dr. Raphael, Tina, I definitely agree with Dr. Raphael. So some great questions and some observations. So I'm just going to open the floor for anyone who wants to make a comment based on what we're coming in. But Mackenzie, Mr. Sevre, I want to come to you first because there were some pointed questions to you if you happen to have caught them. You're muted.
Yeah, I think one of the most significant one is the one referred to the bottles, the jars.
The glass jars.
The problem is, again, we have cottage industries and the volume that they're producing. And one of the things that we actually tried to do when I was in the Manufacturers Association was to persuade the authorities and the powers that be to help to assist us in establishing bulk purchasing, where we could actually purchase those bottles and or the packaging materials in volume, which could then be sold to the small producers. Because I mean, when you buy one bottle for $2, what are you going to sell? What's the price you're going to sell the product? And so these were some of the challenges. In fact, you'll recall that in 2017, the Manufacturers Association presented a proposal to the government which resulted in the government making some $15 million available at the aid bank. But again, even when this $15 million was made available at the aid bank for manufacturers, the manufacturers could not access it because they didn't put a system in place for guaranteeing those loans, and they did not have the collateral to access some of them. These were some of the problems that you were dealing with. But one of the other things that we actually did, we were in the process of doing, was trying to encourage the small manufacturers to meet the necessary standards for export. And we were trying also, without much success, to convince Dexia that we could actually establish Buy Dominica shops in some of the major cities where we have high concentration of Dominica population. And then you could actually purchase the small quantities and have consolidated containers shipped to these, and they would actually be going to one destination, because the volume of products that are coming from our agro processors particularly is just not sufficient. You cannot, and we saw a number of occasions when our agro processors impressed buyers with the quality of the product that they had, but then when they gave them when they fulfilled one order, they had to wait maybe 6 months to fulfill another one. And I mean, so it's a lot of challenges, but a lot of it has to do with not having the facilities which assist in production in the first place, and also not having the volume of raw materials that makes it profitable or competitive for these small manufacturers to prosper. Because I mean, even in the final days of DCP, we had to import copra. And we know that DCP actually started based on the production of copra all over the island. But yet in the final days of DCP, they were importing copra from Guyana and some of the other countries. So, but we are not even dealing with these manufacturers anymore, because most of DCP brings in most of their products, most of the raw materials for production. There isn't any manufacturing. There isn't any real manufacturing facility of consequence that can produce volumes. Country and for some reason people like Dominican products.
Absolutely, because it's authentic. I think there's a certain natural element to many of our products that many people don't get from the synthetic stuff that is usually available elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
and another
it's how authentic it is.
And another challenge that the manufacturers themselves have, the agro-processors themselves have, is that gone are the days when people would just buy things without knowing where they came from. If it's not properly packaged, if it's not properly labeled, and if there isn't a certain level of information as to know where it is made and how it is made, under what conditions, then you really, the days of manufacturing in your kitchen are quickly disappearing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Mr. Charles, let me come over to you. Your final thoughts. And again, this has to be a part of an ongoing conversation. So I want to thank you for being here with us. I hope that you and the rest of our guests will join us for future programs. So some of your final thoughts as we wind down this evening.
Okay. My final thoughts. First of all, I couldn't help but notice that our entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and this says a lot for women and their drive. I have had the opportunity to visit Central America, and I did a trip to Tanzania in East Africa, and you couldn't help but notice how prominent the women are in business. There does seem to be something, I don't know if it's genetic or whether it's just that nurturing quality, or get out on your own and do it, or the circumstances they find themselves. But I'd like to congratulate all of the women here for taking the step towards independence. I think financial independence, as Simone was pointing out, is something that we all sort of strive for. But I know the situation with many women, single or otherwise, that getting that financial independence can be quite a challenge. Talking about something that Severin McKenzie was talking about there, which when I learned that the facility that they had, the Dominica Super Center, when it was destroyed after the hurricane, and we were not able, for some reason or the other, to have it running again. I felt that was a great disappointment, because if we really want to promote our products, a facility such as this would bring the products together. It gives you high visibility. We also mentioned hotels participate. I'll give you an example. I live in British Columbia, and off the coast there's the mainland British Columbia and Vancouver Island, which has a population of a little over 400,000 people. But they have more of a Mediterranean type climate, and they have some unique products which are not produced elsewhere in the province. And they formed an association and actually had a logo put in. But beyond that, they were able to convince some businesses that, and I think they even had a showcase at the airport, where you would have samples of products, and they were clearly identified as product of Vancouver Island. And they were cashing in on their uniqueness, the climate, the moderate climate, all the natural endowments that they have. And I think we could do that in Dominica. And it's sad to see that some of the steps that Severin Mackenzie and others have taken have not really been followed on. I would say that if we need agri-processors to move ahead, there is no doubt that we need to have industrial kitchens where people with ideas can come. You don't have to have your own little factory, but if you can go to a community kitchen where you have ovens, retorts, hot and cold water availability, washing facilities, and all of these stainless steel equipment, all of the stuff that goes with it. And this can be supplied in a community kitchen or an industrial kitchen where people have access to that. And I think that would be a great step if we can do that, if we can move. Now, we've heard a lot about agro-processing in Dominica, the need for it. Severin has clearly pointed out some of the problems that we have with continuity of supply, etc. Because once you say you're going to build a product, you want to develop it, you need to be able to guarantee supply, because the people at the marketing end, they don't have a good feeling about you when they call you and you cannot supply. I think we have the rudimentary elements among the folks here who have great ideas. And I would hope that, people can think a little bit forward as to where we want to go with this, and not just use the word agri-processing because it sounds nice, but to actually be backed up by action. And as Dr. Raphael has pointed out, there are opportunities out there, and we just have to probably work a little harder at it and smarter as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Very well said, Mr. Charlson. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. Doc, let me come over to you for your final thoughts as we wind down. And then, guys, stay tuned. Vincia, I know you're coming in and out, but hang in there. We are almost done. And I want to make sure you have an opportunity to let us know where we can pick up your products. So, Doc, let me come over to you, and then we will wind down with our agro-processors this evening. Doc?
Well, thank you. I'm just so inspired and by so many young women who are wanting to take this to the next level, and so that is very inspiring to be able to see that. I concur with Mr. Ron that all this stuff need to be done, and by Dominica, we just want to be an extension of that great work outside of Dominica. We want to showcase, we want to promote, we want to support. And I don't just want to support our manufacturing that way, but to be able to provide feedback. Like I mentioned, I want to be a part of this larger conversation where we can, we can guide our young entrepreneurs. And we need to take those conversations beyond just them to our businessmen and women, to be able to incorporate them into businesses, to be able to promote, as we say, consume what we manufacture.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Vincia, let me come over to you very quickly before your internet drops again.
Okay.
So remind us the name of your company, remind us your products, remind us where we can pick up your products, and how we can get in touch with you.
All right. So my business name is Waitukubulina Chiliali. My telephone number is 225-9405.
Say it again.
225-9405. My products include cocoa sticks, cocoa balls, cocoa powder, cocoa butter. I also do coconut oil, carrot oil, bay leaf infused oil, ginger oil, and nutmeg oil. And you can message me via WhatsApp. You can call me directly. You can get in touch with me through my Gmail account. It's vinciaparis25@gmail.com. And I
Again.
do deliveries to Roseau, and I can also send to Portsmouth.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Krishana, let's come to you. Remind us your products, the name of your business, contact information so we can support you.
Okay, so I gathered some of my products.
Oh, good. Excellent. For
Okay,
those of us
so
who are watching on Facebook.
yes, so my business name is Manny's Melts. I am on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, anywhere. Just look for Manny's Melts and you'll get me. Okay, my phone number is 317-3447. So you can call me, you can WhatsApp me, or you can find me on Facebook and I will respond. Um,
Excellent.
I have scented candles, so I have one in my hand. So I did. I'm looking for my camera. So I did. I normally my candles are normally in an 8 ounce size, but a lot of persons were asking for a smaller size, so that's how it looks. I have changed the design so I can do any design. If you want liberation colors, you want anything, I can customize your candle for you. Currently we have changed our fragrances and now we have four. Cinnamon lavender, pineapple sage, and sea salt and orchid. So that's one. So it actually looks like it has like a marble, like kind of like a marble effect, and it's soy wax. And then we have our foot scrub. So we have two types of foot scrubs. They come in 8 ounce and 4 ounce sizes. We have lavender and mint, and we have eucalyptus and mint. That just means that it has essential oil and it's lavender, essential oil and peppermint, and the other one is eucalyptus and peppermint. And then I don't have any creams made, unfortunately.
That's
I have to make, but I have massage candles. So this is how my massage candle looks. It comes in a beautiful matte tin, okay, and it's gold and gold because I love gold. I feel that it's a great representation. So we have two types of massage candles. We have one, the name is Chill, and the other one is Sensual. So Chill, the massage candle is actually a candle. You light it, and then you can choose to leave the flame on. It won't burn you. You can choose to leave the flame on, or you can out it, and it can be used as a massage oil also. So
Mhm.
the Chill has chamomile oil, which is made in my kitchen. Um, Olive oil, vitamin E oil, shea butter, and an essential oil. And then the sensual has weed oil that I brew in my kitchen also. Carrot oil, carrot oil. That one it melted in the sun. Shea butter because they also have butters in them. It has shea butter, cocoa butter. Okay, so it's healthy for the skin and it's skin safe even for the children. I have a toddler and it was tested on him and he was fine. Okay. And then we also have that's our my camera don't want to think that so that's our coconut punch. And then we have peanut punch also in two sizes. We have the big bottle and we also have smaller sizes. Another thing I just wanted to mention when someone mentioned about glass jars, so my glass jars I get them in Dominica. The only jar I don't purchase here it would be my tins. I would have to order them, but my glass jars they are actually purchased at Jolly's wholesale. I have big sizes, the 8 ounce. I think that one is there, but you get the cover, you get the lids, and you get the glass jars. Okay, and I have to use these because they are thick. if I use a thinner glass, the heat will cause it can burst. So it's normally the best jars I use when I make my candles. So this was actually purchased by Jolly's Manufacturing for persons looking for jars in Dominica, because I've had persons message me and ask me, I bought a candle from you. Where did you get your jar?
Mm.
And I tell them I got it at Jolly's. I get even my jars. They have plastic also. I think Jolly should give me a discount for advertising for them.
I agree.
So they also have the plastic jars, and they have they have the 8 ounce, the 4 ounce, and they have the glass also, and they also have mini ones that I use them in case a
Yeah.
customer wants me to customize, and we do self-care boxes. So all these lovely products, you can get them in a box. And our boxes also have self-care journals. We also have tumblers. We customize the tumblers for you if you want a little writing on it. We really write a little nice note on top of the box. Make it all pretty and wonderful for you or for whoever you want to give that special gift.
Excellent job. Thank you. Manny Smells, Facebook, YouTube, all social media platforms. Kama, let me come
Not YouTube, not
over
yet,
to
but we come in there. We come in
Okay,
soon.
yes, you need to get there.
Soon. Soon. We'll be there soon. Soon.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Kama, over to you.
Yeah, so we do wildcrafted uh, Caribbean sea moss. It's the sexiest thing you're going to see from Dominica, of Dominica. You can't get any sexier than this.
Sexy
You can
Simos,
contact
forget
me.
it.
You can contact me via telephone at 767-277-9587. I'll repeat, 767-277-9587. You can contact us via email at heymamaproducts@gmail.com. Of course, we're on Instagram at Hey Mama Products. We are on Facebook at Hey Mama. We're on TikTok at Hey Mama Products. And we recently started a YouTube page, but we haven't put anything there as yet. But there is upcoming developments. YouTube is definitely on our agenda.
Well, thank you for being
And
here.
like I already stated where you could find it on Island,
Yes.
most of
And
the major supermarkets.
our target, because we're learning new vocabulary thanks to our experts this evening. Our target is to get you beyond Dominica, and then for those who are not yet in the supermarket, our first target is to get them into the supermarkets such as Vincia, and then to think of international markets. Sarah McKenzie, let me come over to you for your final thoughts as we wind down. Unmute.
It was a pleasure contributing. I thought I had made my exit from manufacturing, but you caught me this time.
And we appreciate you.
Yeah, one of the more prominent budding small manufacturers in Dominica is in fact the producer of Choco Dominique. Don't know if any of you have heard of it. It's the instant chocolate. And he actually came on the scene as a result of a make something to sell competition that the Dominica Manufacturers Association organized for young people. And he ended up being I think he got the prize money. The prize money for the first prize, as the first prize winner, he used as seed money. And right now he's one of the most prominent small businesses, small agro processors on the island. We also had some interventions at the Portsmouth Secondary School, where through our efforts we had them to participate in some trade missions in Peru and Ecuador, and really had a good showing for themselves. So these are some of the things that we in the Dominica Manufacturers were trying to promote, trying to get the schools to participate, and we had in fact adopted the Portsmouth Secondary School. But Maria brought an end to quite a number of those initiatives. But for agro processing, there is a lot of there are a lot of prospects for agro-processing in the country. And if some attention would only be given to the production side of it, where the products, they could produce the raw materials, where they could in sufficient volume. So for example, we have, the peppers and those type passion fruits, and not only producing the raw materials, but producing the appropriate raw materials for manufacturing, because there are some products that you don't, the variety for manufacturing is different than what you just pick and eat and consume, but this goes with research. And one of the things that we do not have for the agro-processing industry in Dominica is any type of research mechanism where small manufacturers like these young women who appear here tonight could go to and not be experimenting to see how their product, but there would be this backup support. And we are hoping that some attention will be given, because we hear the government stating that agriculture will be on the front burner, producing up to $700 million.
I heard.
which is a nice dream. But it has to be adding value, because it hurts me when I see our farmers exporting just the raw green agricultural products at prices that continue they get one price this week, and then the market conditions are not good. Then there is a situation where one farmer just recently sold 60 boxes of bananas. He did not get paid at the same time, and then when he tried to get his payment 2 weeks later, the buyer told him, 25 boxes were rejected, so I'm not paying you.
Wow.
In 2022, farmers go through this thing that you still go through the grinds of production, and then you go to selling it, you deliver it to the buyers, and then you still have to wait 2 weeks to get paid.
Wow.
We should be in fact be processing our and this is in fact one project that we actually presented after the hurricane was, and we tried to present it for the farmers of the Southeast, adding value to dashing. And I think this is one of the products that you mentioned in the root crop processing that you do not have. A lot of people do not like to peel dashing. They just hate the idea of peeling dashing, because some people are very sensitive, and dashing scratches, and some of them just do not know. And we tried to introduce a project where we go into the processing of root crops, so where you could peel the dashing, and somebody could just go to the supermarket and pick up a bag of peeled dashing and just open the bag, pour it. And it wasn't only for dashing; it was for yams and tanyas, potatoes, and those type of things, where you bring where you add some value to the crops. So these are some of the things that we were looking at in the Manufacturers Association, and I'm hoping that they are still on the front burner.
Yeah, and I want to thank you, Mr. Mackenzie, for being here and for stepping out of your current day job and taking a step back into wearing your manufacturer's hat and providing us with this information. And you're so correct, because we see companies like Chocolisto, and there are other companies who have made it very successfully in the international markets. So it begs the question: how do we use that formula to ensure that Vincia and Karma and Krishana and Muriel can also enjoy the same success? And when we look at countries like, for example, Uganda, that produces is one of the largest banana producers, and they make so many other products out of bananas. So I did a quick write down. They make beer and gin and wine and flour and cosmetics, and they use the leaves of the bananas for roofing. They use the fibers for clothing, for decorations, and for souvenirs. One product, bananas, that is being a major income earner. And the value you speak about, Sevra, is in the convenience. Because this is a new day. We can't complain too much about folks not wanting to peel dashing anymore. Let's get past that to how can we make it convenient so that the farmer can still produce dashing and still be able to sell it, but make it into a more convenient product. So again, I want to thank everyone who joined us this evening for Roots Connections on Q, right here on Q95. Dr. Jolly just said dashing chips, which is a great idea. Octobers, I hope that you will agree to join us on the program. I think you have great ideas. You can always email me at pushpast10, pushpast10 at gmail.com. You and anyone else who feel that you have a contribution to make. Alvin says that initiative must be continued. Simone, let's try to collaborate with Mackenzie on that. So as we can see, we have a lot of work to be done in this area as we talk about looking beyond peeling, fig, and dashing, and are we taking advantage of agro-processing in Dominica so that our friends and families at home can be financially independent. This is the concept of Roots Connections. How do we create opportunities for financial independence? And as the program continues, we will look at other areas, the digital world, digital marketing, the digital space, how education is changing. So we have a lot to cover, and we hope that you will continue to be a part of the program as we continue to create financial opportunities for Dominicans at home and abroad. So again, you've been listening to Roots Connections on Q, right here on Q95, the big station, and we look forward to another opportunity to engage with you as we continue to build the resources needed to give financial independence to our brothers and sisters at home and abroad. And with that, I say good evening. Thank you, Lambi. Thank you, Mr. G. Thank you, the Q95 family. Thank you to our wonderful panel. We hope that you will join us again for yet another program as we continue this information and as we track your progress, because I would love to be able to track your progress, Krishana and Kama and Vinci and Muriel, and, bring on other folks so we can get them the exposure and the support they need. So again, to our Q95 listeners at home and abroad, thank you for being with us, as well as our Facebook Live and YouTube Live audience. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. So until we meet again next time, November 23rd, I am Simone Mathieu, and it is always a pleasure to be here with you. You have yourself a good night. Unmute your mics and say bye to the folks. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night. We'll be in touch soon.
Right.
Take care. Thank you, Lambi.
Yo!